has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto. My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's a major thing.
What up, YouTube? It's Two Fat Guys Pull Us, and it's issue 83 / episode 83. But it's issue 83 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. Damn, man, we've been doing this for a minute. It just feels like yesterday. Anyway, welcome everybody. Right off the bat, let's just get it out of the way. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. Hit that bell. If you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We're in the middle of a milestone giveaway. We're giving away some cool slabs at 650, actually 750, 850, 950, and 1,000. And you know what we're giving away at 1,000. I don't have to say it, but make sure to hit that subscribe button because we are giving away slabs on the day, on the reg.
We don't have to mention it, talk about it, or even do it. Actually,
you know exactly what we're giving away. Anyway, and also give us a like if you're watching this live. If you're watching this as a past episode, make sure you do all those things as well. And the other thing I want to say is, anybody who is watching live currently, let us know in the comments, what was your pick of the week? We want to know. We got to get that engagement. Let's go. Let us know. The other business that we have to talk about is we are talking about our show sponsor, Collected Comics and Games. They have a website called brainycomics.com, and you can go over there to brainycomics.com and you can buy some comics. And you can buy some graphic novels, some games, some collectibles, all kinds of cool stuff. But then you can sign up for the Two Fat Guys Pull Us upgrade or premium upgrade. And you're probably asking yourself, what are those upgrades? Well, if you set up this upgrade in your cart, if you do the standard upgrade for $8, you will get one mystery exclusive cover comic, or comic with an exclusive cover on it. If you do the premium for $15, you get 2. Now, if you look at the covers, most covers are anywhere between $20 to $15 already. And you could potentially get one of these random covers in your cart or in your whatever you buy when it ships to you. So we got some awesome ones. We got the Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood. We've got Ghost Rider, Miles Morales, Silver Surfer. These are updated probably every 2 weeks. But Ron has got some awesome covers over there on brainycomics.com. So head over to brainycomics.com. Buy yourself some comics. Set your cart up with the Two Fat Guys Pull Us upgrade or premium upgrade. Make sure to basically search for Two Fat Guys Pull Us and this will pop up. Set that up in your cart and you are off to the races. It's going to be awesome. And that's going to do it for the business. You know, we took care of that. As for the week, it was I had fun this week. I felt like last week was a little less, at least for me. I think I gave last week a B, and I'd give this a solid A for me personally. I had some fun this week.
I think we're a little reversed on where we were last week. I was a little more excited than you were this week. I'm just sort of like, I don't know. Patty says his pick was Hulk Grand Design. I'm very curious about that because I very much randomly on a whim read it this week, and
You weren't a fan.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
It didn't tickle your fancy.
The style was really cool, but
okay.
I felt like I didn't learn very much as a Hulk fan. I felt like it was just sort of like, and I didn't feel like I was educated, but I don't know. Maybe it's not for me. Like maybe this was for.
I mean, you've always said Hulk is not one of your lower down tiered heroes for you, so
right.
You really had to knock it out of the park. But I am with Michael saying had a lot of good ones this week. As we go through the list, I'll say, hey, like I really enjoyed this one. I had one pick of the week. It was down to 2 books, but I had one. So it was fun. It was really fun. But let's kick the show off as we always do with our X books, and we have one X-Men book this week, and that is Immortal X-Men, issue number 1 from Karen Gillan.
People know.
This, I had a lot of hope, or there was a lot sitting on this book. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of expectation. It had to compete with essentially Jonathan Hickman's previous run, right? As flawed as the ending was, Hoxpox is the bar, and Karen Gillan did it. He, in my opinion, took the shot, and he did some bold stuff, and I think he did it with his own identity, but still had taken notes and paid attention to what Hickman did. And I think that's Immortal X-Men for me in a nutshell. So
This Jim's pick of the week.
Right off the bat, this is my pick of the week, and I know that there are a lot of people in the community that actually didn't like it or it was too clunky for them, because this book is filled with deposition. It is very wordy, but it's not in a bad way, in my opinion.
No, I think that I think that Kieran Gillen said we got shit to do and we're going to do it, and it may not make for the most flowing of comic books, but we're going to do it anyway, and I think it was appropriate. I think he properly set the tone that he was trying to do, even if that required a lot of words on the page, and there were at times a lot of words on the page.
Yeah.
But I agree. I actually, it's not because of Kieran Gillen, but it's just because of where X has been lately. I was like nervous to read this book because I was like, man, if this doesn't do it,
I'm out.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And of course, this book was good enough for me to even start questioning whether I'm going to continue, maybe even X-Force and Wolverine. So.
Oh wow.
Oh, I don't know. It was really good.
Somebody clip that clip. I know YouTube has the new clip feature. Clip that saying he's contemplating actually picking up X-Force and Wolverine. I'm right there with you. Like, very nervous to read the book, and it had a high expectation. And I will say this: I think it benefited us both that we're currently reading Karen Gillan's Eternals run.
There's no doubt.
We know coming off of that and knowing his writing style, kind of knowing his ebbs and flows with this story arc, it's just felt like home. You know what I'm saying? Like, Eternals is wordy, but it's wordy in a sense that it really builds anticipation, and I think we did that in this issue. But I also liked what you said with the whole, like, Karen Gillan was basically saying, we got shit to do, let's do it. And when you have an issue where you read the beginning and you just kind of read it because you just want to read it, and then you get to the end and go, holy shit, I got to read this again, because the ending of the book puts the beginning of the book in such perspective.
And one thing that he did that I really enjoyed too was bring on a few players that I wasn't anticipating, that I really enjoyed their involvement. Mainly Hope and Selena.
Yeah.
I actually, like, after Selena did her little speech, I was like, yeah, I think she'd be a pretty good fit on the council, actually. I think that would kind of work, like the whole magic business, and, you guys got rid of Apocalypse and you're going to need it. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then, well, that didn't quite work out. But
no. And then, the biggest thing that I like is, because I don't have that much of a connection to the character outside of Hellions, which I actually loved him in Hellions, was Sinister, right? So Hickman set up these Sinister secrets, and for the most part, they kind of got forgotten unless you did your homework and went back and read the secret and then was like, oh shit, that just happened. Like they were happening through Hickman and the rest of the X-Office's books between Hoxpox and essentially, what was before Destiny of X?
Reign of X?
Reign of X, yeah. They were sprinkled in there, right? But there were some that kind of got missed, or I feel like weren't delivered on. and we can debate all day why they weren't. But I loved that this first issue was through Sinister, right? Because Sinister's secrets kind of make it, he has to have the upper hand. He has to know exactly what's going on, and he's going to do whatever he can to do that. So the biggest secret that was revealed after Inferno was, hey, Moira can live multiple lives and then take whatever she lives in that life and bring it to the next subsect of life. And so as everyone has learned that secret, I'm actually quite surprised that nobody caught on to what Sinister was doing outside of probably Destiny. I'm sure she knows. But here we go. We're going to spoil it. Major spoilers. The big reveal at the end of this book is Sinister has been cloning Moira and using her lives to travel back in or relive in time. It's very confusing, but very intriguing. But he's essentially been gaining knowledge through Moira's cloned lives. So at the beginning of this book, we're in like we're right between, I think, World War I and World War II or something like that. I can't.
Yeah, it's right at the end of World War I, 1919.
There we go. And Sinister is having a conversation with Destiny in the same little setting that we always get with Moira and Professor X. So it's, there's a lot of parallels that I like that Kieran Gillen did. I think Gillen understood what big X-Men fans, or at least Hoxpox fans, have been wanting, and so he is hitting every note. And I wouldn't call it fan service. I would just call it attention to detail. I think he realizes how much hard work Hickman put into his X-Men run, and I think he wants to carry on that legacy. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, but he's intrigued enough to continue it in his work. Now, if he's being directed that way, I don't know, but he's doing a damn good job of it in this first issue. Anyway, we see Sinister and Destiny in this era, and Sinister essentially says to Destiny that this is the 26th time, or he throws out the number 26, like a version of himself. And when you first read the book, you don't know what that means. It's just kind of thrown out there. So the context of him saying this is the 26th version of himself is a bit disjarring, right? But once you read the end of the book, you really get it. But he's been going back in time or going into the future, both ways, to gain as much knowledge through Moira and how he can control his destiny on the council. And it was super awesome. It was really cool. I think the Gillen did a really good job of capturing Sinister's voice. I know Gillen has previous experience writing X-Men comics. I believe in the late 2000s or early, or no, not late, like mid to early 2000s. So there's a lot of, I watched Comic Book Herald's video about this, and he just said it so perfectly. Like, this book completely reignites the excitement for the X-Men books, and there's just a lot of, more questions are now being asked, and I think that was the beauty of Hickman's run, is like, oh my god, these possibilities, what if we went here, what if we went here, I can't wait until we go here, from Hoxpox. And I think Gillen did the same thing in this book. I think he's reignited the idea of, like, fans trying to figure out where we're going. And that could be either a good thing, or, as for Hickman, a bad thing, because we had such high expectations and then it just fucking ended.
That's what I was about to say. Like, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. We're gonna have to kind of stick the landing. And the thing about it is, it's not just in his hands.
Right.
We've got a big creative team here that's gonna have to either we're going to need to not have things so intricately involved, or going to some good cohesion.
I think we'll kind of know the answer when we get to Judgment Day, and we'll really see in the solicits, like, how many of the X-Men books are actually involved in Judgment Day. You would assume all of them, right? But
No, I would assume at most Immortal and X-Men, and that's it.
well, the reason why I say it that way is because when there was an event, like X-Men, I guess, all the books were involved, and they made that creative decision as the X Office to have each chapter of Ten of Swords to be involved, and I just hope we don't.
Judgment
do that.
Day is not an X-Men event,
but they're part of it.
Well, but they were also part of Devil's Reign and
That's true.
Empire, and
I'm
all the
just
rest of it.
saying
it's not an X-Men event, so it's not gonna be the same.
voicing my concern because I don't want Wolverine, I don't want X-Force, I don't want I don't know. So that's part of it. And the other thing I think that will let us know how cohesive these runs are going to be is when we get X-Men Red. And what's the other one? There's another one that an X-Men. I think that's the biggest concern we both have had is, does Gary Jerry play ball with the rest of the X Office, and more specifically, does he play ball with Karen Gillan? We don't know. We don't know if they're going to work together, or if Marvel editorial and Kevin Feige are telling Gary Jerry, we need a generic X-Men book so that when people get introduced to the X-Men in the MCU, they know what to pick up. That's always the fear.
Definitely don't think that's happening. I don't think Kevin Feige is paying any attention to what's going on with X-Men books right now. He's got enough to going on.
Either way, the fact that this book has reignited both of our... I mean, I was picking up X-Men or Wolverine and X-Force no matter what, but now I'm in the same boat. I'm like, oh my God, we might have a direction. This is Hoxpox 2.0. And then on top of that, I love this, getting a behind the scenes look at the council. I always wanted more council, right? Because they are the brain. They are the brains of this entire operation, and we need more of that. We need to know why we're doing certain things or why we're not doing certain things. And also, this is a very random, but it was in the secrets that a blue mutant will be coming back at some point, or involved. And I know it's probably Nightcrawler, but I want it to be Apocalypse. I hope Apocalypse comes back, because in this book,
hasn't gone anywhere.
I know, but he's gonna have his own comic in Legion or whatever it is, Legion of X. But I want it to be Apocalypse because the Forever or the gate to Ameth or whatever it was called is opened in this book. So I just feel like Apocalypse showing back up, shooting himself to Mars and taking over Arakko and being an X-Men Red. I'm just calling it now. Clip it. Apocalypse is coming back.
Someone is living in a fantasy world right now.
Karen Gillan opened the doors, dude. He did it. I mean, now we can speculate.
True.
Just saying. All right, well, that's X-Men, or Immortal X-Men #1. I highly recommend it if you were invested in Hoxpox and you were somewhat invested in X-Men comics and you felt like you needed to walk away. This is a very much needed refresher, and it's picking up other X-Men books. And hopefully it works. We'll see.
Yeah, and I would say that you don't necessarily need to be caught up in with Reign of X to really figure out what's going on. If you didn't know what was going on in Inferno and stuff, as long as you understand the basic Moira stuff, then you're good.
Yeah, I think reading Inferno would probably be, outside of Hoxpox, would probably be your best thing to read. Hoxpox, Inferno, let's go. I mean, if you want to read Ten of Swords, read the Alpha, the middle one, and the Omega, and that you're good. You're good. All right, next up we have Captain Marvel issue 37 from Thompson. I genuinely liked this issue. I pray it's Big Daddy A. You know what, Grayson? I'm right there with you. I think it will be. It has to be. You can't have an X-Men comic without him. When he left, I was like, no, he needs to come back. Anyway, Captain Marvel 37. I really liked this issue. I thought it was fun.
You know what it was?
What? Oh, really?
It was a Silly Goose Time.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. It was a Silly Goose Time.
It was a Silly Goose Time.
It was a Silly Goose Time, and it was human, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was human. It had a lot of comedic overtones, and it flowed really well. It read really well, and I think that was the best part about the book, is that it just didn't It didn't feel choppy. It didn't feel like this is the in-between part of the arc. It connected issue 36, and I believe it's going to. I mean, it's connecting right into 38, and it was, it was basically Binary learning how to be human, right? To just be.
Right. We're seeing Binary gain her own sort of consciousness or identity.
Right, and then I liked the A-Force essentially being assembled by Captain Marvel's sister. I loved just seeing the interactions with that, and then the big hook, which is essentially Captain Marvel getting zapped out of her reality or out of her plane of existence. So we have Binary taking in, Binary will be taking up the mantle of Captain Marvel until they find Carol Danvers. I thought the artwork in this issue was really good. I was very surprised in that. It wasn't like, hey, we're just going to get some random person to do this. No, they took their time. It was really good. The book had its voice. It just felt clean, and it didn't feel disconnected like that one Captain Marvel one shot between arcs that I absolutely hated. This was really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this book is a perfect example of what this run is like. If someone's like, give me an example of what does it feel like? What does Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel feel like? I feel like you could give someone this issue, and obviously they're not going to understand who people are, but like, you don't need to. The voice is there, the direction is there. I love how much we get a supporting cast constantly showing up. Like, I always think, oh, we're probably not going to see Hazmat or Spider-Woman in a while, but then boom, there they are, getting zapped in by her sister, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I liked it. I thought it was really cool.
Also, I like that She-Hulk got brought in too. I thought it was fucking awesome.
Oh, of course. Yes.
It was good. It was a good issue. It was a fun issue.
Silly goose time.
It was silly goose time. All right, next up we have Dark Ages, issue number 6, the final issue in Tom Taylor's Dark Ages. Issue 1 started off so badass, and then it just kind of crumbled. And I don't know. I mean, we both think that this was written way before he ever accepted DC, but I'm using that as an excuse for this book to just be like coming apart. It just felt like I got to get to the end. That's essentially what this was. And maybe it's because it was only 6 issues, and in Tom Taylor's other Elseworld story, he's got 12, so he can really like expand it. But I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to see the eternal, the celestial robot in the core of the earth being reignited. Like, that was a cool storyline, and it was like, nah, we're not going to look at that thing ever again.
Something like that's not there.
Yeah. It feels like a missed opportunity, and it sucks because I really liked this concept at the outshoot of it, and now it's just kind of like, it's over.
Yeah, I think the blueprint is there for a cool Elseworld story, and I almost wonder if maybe they don't try to get someone to pick it up and see if they can do something else with it. I think it would be the good opportunity for maybe like an unproven writer to kind of see what they can do.
Yeah.
But
no, because I still want to play in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I still want to... I would love to continue this storyline. We just know we're not going to get Tom Taylor writing it. But I would love to continue the Dark Ages. I don't know. I want it to continue, but I don't want it to just be like another 6. I think it needs to be fleshed out.
Well, I think a perfect example, too, of how disjointed it felt was we had 2.5 pages of them of getting built up that they were about to have to fight the Avengers, essentially. They're like, we have to fight our friends. In order to get this done, we have to fight our friends. Right. And it was like 2.5 pages of setup. And then they were the Purple Man's hold over them was snapped in like one panel. And they're like, okay, now we're not fighting our friends anymore. You're like, wait.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. Why the fuck would Purple Man go out there? Like, he doesn't have to be in range, does he?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think he has to. And him being that felt very lazy. Like, oh, well, if you just kill the dude that's controlling them, then you're fine. Well, duh. So why are you on the battlefield? Like, I don't know. That felt very lazy. What else? There was one other thing that there was one badass moment, which is when they try it when they go to kill Apocalypse, which like you're like, how do you kill Apocalypse? Right. And they essentially use Dracula to make him into a vampire, and then Blade comes in to cut his head off, but he's like, two birds with one stone, and he literally stabs through Apocalypse vampire into Dracula and then cuts both of their heads off.
Chops both their heads off at the same time.
That was an oh shit moment for me. I was like, oh shit, like that's smart. That's not lazy. That's smart.
But like literally, like Dracula was, for all intents and purposes, on their side, and Blade's like, no, it doesn't matter. Like,
no, I don't get this opportunity. You know, this doesn't come around too often, so I have to swing. So that I thought that was cool. But then it was just like, and happy ending, we're off into a new world, yay! And I'm like, what? Like, please, someone else pick this up and do a better job. Like, and that sucks because Tom Taylor is an amazing writer. And again, this started off really well, and then we got to this issue, and it was kind of like, get over it.
Yeah, I think it was just poor planning, poor circumstance. Just didn't. It never had the chance to be able to flush out and be what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, Patty says, as a kid in like 2006, Marvel Zombies blew my mind with the 5 or 6 issues, and that was enough. But this doesn't seem to be enough for this. No, yeah, there was a lot of things that were planted and seeded that I think you could flush out more, and he could have had a great time. You know, like the Miles Morales Venom Carnage combo. I want to see more of that. I want to see and we got some of it. We got, maybe in total 4 pages total of like how he became that and how he fought that way. But this cover, I mean, he's doing more kick-ass things in this cover than what happened in the book, and I think we could have done that with a lot of characters. Like I was interested in Spider-Man too, and the way he was, dealing with the power outages and not being able to, his powers being out of whack. Like there was a lot of opportunity in this book. And it just didn't have enough time to flush it out. Also, Marvel Zombies didn't pick up with Marvel Zombies 2. I feel like I would have been fine with it then. Okay, yeah. No, I've read 1, 2. I don't know if I've read 3 because I think there's like a total of 5 with 4 of them being numbered. I think I can't remember. But whatever. All right. I keep hitting the wrong button. I changed my hotkeys. Next up, we have Ghost Rider issue number 2. Bought this purely for the cover. I did read it. I'm done. And it's not that it's bad. I just don't care. I don't feel any connection to it. Ghost Rider is badass in this book. Don't get me wrong. He's really cool. There was an oh shit moment in this book, but let's reintroduce Ghost Rider. Like that's essentially what we're doing in the book. Is like, who is Ghost Rider? Who is this mysterious? Come on, we know he was the fucking king of hell in the last story arc, and you just threw that out the window, and that was cool. So this is an honorable mention in the sense that I'm not going to be talking much about it. I'm not interested. And I'm sorry if that frustrates anybody, but it just wasn't there for me. Like I read it and I'm like, I'm not at all intrigued to keep on going. Now, you keep on making Peach Momoko covers. Yeah, I'll probably pick those up, right? But I'm not going to.
Yeah, even I bought it because of the Peach Momoko cover.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it, but I'll keep on buying it if Peach Momoko is doing the covers. So let's go straight to Hulk issue number 5 from Donnie Cates and Ryan Otley. This is one of the first books I read, so I can't remember exactly what. That's right.
What are you gonna remember? It was just a bunch of punching.
Well, that's Hulk.
Well, I like plot sometimes, and no plot here.
Well, I mean, what they did in this book is essentially we're ramping up to this, newest version of the Hulk that everybody's gonna buy, get the first cover appearance and yada yada yada. That's essentially what this book was. But to see Peter transform back down, and then like as he's gaining his humanity back, he's about to get hit by a massive A-bomb. That was cool, but we're really just ramping up to the conclusion and the introduction of this new Hulk. But I did like what's the name of the general?
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, Thunderbolt, just being a complete ass, like that's just who he is. But him just being even more sadistic and just ruthless, I thought was cool. But you're right. I mean, this was just a bunch of punching so that we can get to the Hulk that everybody wants to see that we've never seen before. Like the worst Hulk ever. You know what I mean? Like that's
what is the worst Hulk ever?
It's a new character. Like it's a new form of Hulk. That's where we're getting to, because you saw. I will say, let me rephrase. Let me back up a bit. I did like seeing Banner fight with his subconscious, where he was ramping up the levels of pain for the Hulk so that he could get it to do what it needed to do. But then when he loses control and his subconscious takes over, and it's in the form of his wife, and he keeps on saying like, Betty, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm not. You keep on forgetting I'm not Betty. Like,
I'm you.
Yeah, I am you. And so, they take it to 11 essentially in this book. So it was cool to see Hulk like getting his ass kicked by demons and then Asgardian gods. Like he just like kept on getting his ass kicked.
Of course, I did get very excited about the very brief Beta Ray Bill cameo.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, you're right. Like this book is just an ends to a mean to an end. And getting us to this new character that Donnie and Ryan are going to introduce, I think, in the next issue, is the first appearance. I can't remember what the name of the Hulk is, but we're getting there. Michael says Hulk.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just say, Michael says Hulk is my pick of the week. Bias because I like Hulk a lot in my favorite characters. I think that the play on who Betty may or may not be added to this. You're right. Like, is that Banner's subconscious, or is there somebody else inside Hulk's brain? Which, coming off of Al Ewing's Hulk run, yeah, a lot of subconsciousness and other forms were running into Hulk, including the guy with the big brain. Damn it.
Leader.
Yeah, Leader. Like Leader was going through green doors left and right. So, that might be a leftover subconscious and or person within the green door. So who knows? Donnie may connect Ewing's run still. We'll see. But I mean, yeah, it was. I know you didn't like it.
I just think, I don't know. I think I need to do some deep dive into Hulk or something, and I think there's nuances about the Hulk that I don't get.
That you're missing.
So let's just really briefly. We're already here. We've already got Hulk on the screen.
Yeah.
We already know that this is someone's pick of the week. I don't remember whose it was right now. Whose was it?
Also, Michael says, I feel like some part of his dad only because they're calling him son, but who knows with Donnie? No, that would fit perfectly with Donnie's, daddy issue. Like, this is a perfect character for Donnie with his daddy issue stuff.
So, Patty said this was his pick of the week. I picked this up literally only after I picked this up and was like, maybe I just don't get it. Maybe there's something about Hulk that I just don't know, I don't get. And like, I really still don't really understand the differences between like, well, there's the Hulk and then there's Bruce Banner, and sometimes they're together and sometimes they're separate, and I just didn't really understand it. So the whole point of this is like is a retelling of his history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, okay, cool, maybe this will explain how some of that works. And unfortunately, in a lot of panels, it literally just says, the Hulk was separated from Bruce Banner, and then quickly thereafter, they were reignited again. Yeah, I got that. How? Why? What does that mean? None of that was fleshed out.
Yeah.
And so, while this issue is looks so cool, like it's got like faded paper, it looks like old newsprint. The art style is really intriguing. I didn't feel like I learned anything about the Hulk. I felt like it was very much like the Hulk punched some things, then it seems like every 10 issues he gets irradiated with more gamma, and then he gets more mad, and then sometimes he gets separated from his body, and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, I just don't understand.
Patty says I'm fond of Hulk, especially because he's the first character I remember as a kid watching the show with my dad. And yeah, goddamn Jim Rugg.
Rocky's
I was like, wait, what? Yeah, Grand Designs doesn't do some things of Hulk justice.
I honestly think I might need to start picking up the Epic collections of a Hulk or something.
You picked up? I gave you my my Al Ewing hardcovers, didn't I?
I bought those from you, yes.
Yeah, so I'm saying you should probably read those because those did start kind of. I think it's sprinkled in there with Ewing. Now Ewing obviously is much more like deep and religious and like very like but it's there. Like there are mentions of things, which definitely help connect the dots. So I would recommend that. But I think you're right. Buying some Epic collections might help too.
Yep.
Patty says I enjoyed it because the simplicity of it of its looks. Yeah. And that's Grand Designs. Yeah. So we're moving towards Hulk and Thor fighting. So let's just get there.
Not interested in that anymore.
Let's jump into DC with Shadow War Alpha #1. I was pleasantly surprised.
I really enjoyed this. Enjoyed this. We've been sort of poo-poo on this event, and I'm going to pick up all the issues that are not relevant to our normal pickups because I want to know what's going on here. This felt very much like, to me, this always felt like a Deathstroke event that featured some Bat people, and this very much does not feel that way at all. This very much feels like a Batman Robin book that happens to be involved as Deathstroke happens to be involved with.
Right.
I also really enjoyed the art on the inside too. This was what's his name? Bogdanovich.
Yeah.
The guy when he was doing some of those Detective Comics runs.
The other thing, what I liked the most was, and it was just the big bang, quite literally the bang in the book. Turning that page was like, oh, like we knew it was coming, right? Like we all knew it was, but it just felt it felt like a movie. This issue read like a movie. So when that happened, I was like, yo, that's pretty epic. I will say I do feel, I'm like you, I'm picking up the in-between issues, with Deathstroke Inc. and all that. But I did feel a little bit like when all the Deathstroke characters essentially showed up, I'm just kind of like, huh? Like I kind of wish I had picked it up now just to be. Yeah,
now it makes me want to go back and see. DC really messed up by not having that first trade out by the time this came out.
Well, it sets the tone.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying is the whole point of doing this is to get people involved in your Deathstroke book that are like us, that aren't interested in it. Mm-hmm. Okay, DC, you did it. You got us. Where's the trade for me to pick up Deathstroke so I can get caught up?
Right.
Why? There's literally no reason for it to not be here. But for whatever reason, DC cannot keep up with a proper timeline on their collected editions.
I agree.
I don't know why.
Yeah, but the alpha has definitely got me excited. So, I know, like you were saying, when we first had this in our aside, we were kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm going to read it, but I don't know if I should even continue on with some of the other like tie-ins. But now I'm fully committed. So hopefully, Williamson, don't let me down, and just let me have a silly goose time until Chip Zdarsky takes over. Just please do that. Let's have some fun.
Right.
So, all right. Damn it! I keep on hitting that key. I changed it.
Holy crap! I'm sorry. I just looked it up just in case because I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And Deathstroke Inc. The first trade has come out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't come out till August. August. Like what? I don't.
Yeah, that's not.
I don't understand that at all.
Dropping the ball. All right, let's jump into our independence with Boom Studios. Something is Killing the Children, issue number 21 from James Tynion the Fourth.
Yay! Do the thing.
That's Nate's Pick of the Week.
don't think this shocks anyone that's
No, not at all.
watched our show even a little bit. So this is the beginning of technically our third arc, but we are now back into the present time. We are no longer doing flashbacks from when Erica originally joined the Order of St. George. And this issue feels like a new number one. Like it really does. If you have been curious about Something is Killing the Children at all, read this book. You've got to pick this issue up. You don't need to know anything about what was going on. You don't need to know who the characters are. You don't need to know who Erica is. You don't need to know anything. It's literally like starting from scratch. And I think that the fact that that Tinian was able to do that and still keep give you a story that was so engaging for old readers like me, that I was like, I read this issue twice, like literally back to back. As soon as I was done, I went back and read it again, because it does read a touch too quickly I think maybe I was just too excited and I got through it too quickly, but basically we're starting out in a new town. It's almost exactly like issue number one. We're starting out in a new town. A girl has seen a horrific murder. I believe it's her mom, her grandma, and a couple of siblings. And she is in the back of a cop's car, and he's like, you gotta something to happen. And she's like, I want a lawyer. I want a lawyer. This girl's got like a ton of fucking attitude, and it's like, it's funny, but at the same time it's like really chilling, because like she's literally covered in blood. And this basically just sets the scene of that we're in another small town. I believe it's in New Mexico. I think the town's called like Tribulation or something. Like, it's a real silly, very Stephen King style name for a town. And it basically just opens up with this girl. We sort of figure out what's going on. We see in a little bit of flashback, not through her eyes, but through the officer's eyes that showed up to the 911 call. And then we get to see her flashback of her finding her grandmother and then finding her mom with her sister. And it is horribly graphic. But at the same time, not graphic. Like it is, but it's that Deladera style of scratchy, almost abstractness. Literally the issue just ends with the girl sort of crying and trying to figure out what she's gonna do next, and Erica appears behind her, is like, hey, do you need to talk? And so you're like, okay, shit's about to go down. Erica's here to save the day. But at the same time, like, if you don't know who she is, it's fine. Like, you're gonna learn. I think we're gonna go through this very much at a pace that both new readers and old readers can do.
Nice. Well, I need Lee, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this as a past episode, make sure if you have any extra issues, please put it in my aside, because I did not pick it up this Wednesday.
I'm sure
but Nate has told me I need to pick it up, so
have to. Well, and the one thing that I enjoy that some people will say it causes these issues to read a little too quickly is that James Tinian really allows Deladera to be involved with the storytelling, with his art. There's a lot of panels that have no words or very few words. There's a double page splash page spread in there that's literally just like the diner that they meet at, and then just the surrounding area. And at first you're like, well, this is just a really basic picture, but I think without that, you totally miss the tone of this like desolate, dark town, old school, like the kind of drive-through town that you never think about stopping in.
Gotcha.
And I just like how atmospheric it feels.
I mean, that's because of the writing and the artwork, right? Like that just it's a double whammy.
It's very classic. Something is Killing the Children. It's still everything I loved about the first 20 issues.
Okay, all right, I'll check it out. All right, next up we have Radiant Black from Image Comics, issue number 13. I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of dreading this book.
You kind of were, yeah.
Yeah, and I liked that we got an abundance of Nathan in this book rather than the friend who's actually Radiant Black right now. But Marshall. We got, yeah, Marshall. But we also got a lot of Marshall in this book, but it was Marshall that I wanted to see, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, it totally does. Totally.
It finally felt like he fit, you know, like the other stuff with Marshall in the previous issues, it was just like, I don't even want you to have the suit. And then, like, Higgins just went in and said, nah, he's trash. Like, he's an afterthought, and he's the hero, right? And so, that I liked that. And then I liked the brutalness of the book. Like, I liked the brutalness of the action. Marshall is letting off a little bit of steam, right? Because everybody's kind of ignoring him. When I say everybody, it's Nathan, because, you know, he just got back from coma, and yeah, and everyone's like, oh, hey, we haven't seen you forever. Y'all, you're alive. And hey, we're best friends. And like, well, I got to catch up with all these people. Well, all right, I'm going to go kill somebody. You know, like.
Did he kill that guy? Or?
I think he did, because the guy basically, let's rewind. So we've got these villains that are basically, they're battery charged, and the only way to charge their batteries are off the radiance. So when they're close to the radiance, their batteries charge. Well, these are all these villains who are just doing really shitty things around the city. Well, Marshall, as Radiant Black, has got sponsorships, and so he's like touting all these different local businesses, and one of the bad guys, essentially his battery is run dry, and he's like, if I get close to the radiance, my battery will fill back up. So he goes out and he blows up this deep dish pizza restaurant that he's been a sponsorship for, but he's been making ads. So he was like, well, if I blow these places up, he's going to show up and I can recharge my batteries. So that's what he does. And he kills a bunch of people. And so Marshall shows up. He knows that this is the case when it comes to the radiance kind of filling these batteries of these bad guys up, because they have some kind of technology that is related to the radiance, which is pretty cool. And so they get into a big old fight. And at one point, Marshall's just kind of had enough, because the guy is threatening to essentially just come back every time and kill more people just to kind of drain the Radiant Black energy. And he threatens, at one point, Marshall just goes like Super Saiyan, and like his cape is kind of coming out, and he's just like, and he rips the armor off this guy. And the guy essentially tells him, you're going to have to kill me, or, you know, if you don't, I'm just going to keep on coming back. I'll find a way to get a hold of some of this armor. And he goes, I'll kill everyone that you love. And, you know, immediately the thought of Nathan, his friend, comes into his mind. So he goes, no, you won't. And he kills him. He kills him.
Was he?
I mean, he says, no, you won't. Like, I think he killed him.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely blood.
I think he killed him.
I think I kind of want him to have killed him, because I like that for the character. I think
right.
It's like development, and what does this mean, and how do we go forth with this?
Exactly. And then the other big development in the book is that the robot that is inside the Radiant Black suit is tormenting Nathan.
Yeah. Is
like, hey, we need to talk. And he's like, not right now. I just woke up from coma. I'm going to eat some pizza. But it was just, I was expecting a book that was like, Marshall, and then it was like, no, it was like that, but it was for the better, because it's developing Marshall into potentially an anti-hero. And then there's this problem with Nathan and the robot, and like it did more than I thought it was. And I think that's why I liked it so much, because I was prepared for, I'm behind on my rent, and I'm a failed writer, and my mom took care of my dog while I was gone for 6 weeks, and what are we gonna, you want to get some tacos? Like,
failed writer, not Marshall.
I know, I'm saying in general, like all of it, like, and with the Nathan stuff too. I was just, I'm done with the character development of C-list characters with our main characters. Does that make sense? Like, Supermassive opened up this idea of like big cosmic wars coming to Earth, and 3 different comics are gonna have to deal with it. And we didn't necessarily get that in this book, but we got some attitude from Marshall because he's being neglected from his friend. And I thought the way Higgins wrote it did it justice, rather than it being bogged down and then we got 2 really awesome pages at the end. It flowed really well.
That I agree with.
So
I would say that the only thing literally we just had a book in this week already that was very, very wordy. I don't have a problem with wordiness, but I felt like there were too many words in this comic. I think an editor could have made this a little bit better.
Okay. I think comparative to other issues within Radiant Black, let's say like issue 3 or 4, this was decent comparative to that book that was a literal novel.
Yes,
I couldn't even read. I almost dropped it after issue 3. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading this book. So, I thought it was good.
I don't like what you did with the Rush.
Rogue Sun, issue number 2. Nate, I'm gonna go on a limb here. Yeah, I know. You might actually want to consider picking up this book because I know. So, we got introduced to Rogue Sun and Supermassive, and we got introduced to this character, and then issue 1 he dies, right? And then the suit goes to his estranged son on his own doing. Well, what we find out in this book is that his soul has been linked to the suit. So when his dad shows up in the previous issue, it's his actual soul. So he's a ghost. And what we find out in this book is the son finds out the true reason why he inherited the suit and not his new family that is like super rich and all this shit, right? And so we were all thinking, well, he didn't give the suit to the super rich family because they're shitty people. Well, that might be the case, maybe still yet, but the ghost of the estranged son essentially tells him the reason why he picked him to have the suit was because he loved his son and daughter from the other family essentially more, and he didn't want to put that burden of the suit on them. And he needed the son to find out why he was murdered, but he knew that that he didn't want the other kids to deal with that shit. And I was like, fuck, okay, not only do I disown you, that I kicked you, like I don't even want anything to do with you, but now I need you to go do my dirty work because I don't love you as much. Yeah.
I don't know about all that shit. That's
hardcore. It was hardcore. Like I got through the first 4 pages and I was like, I might not like this book. Like I might actually be done with it. And then that dropped and I was like, there's some serious shit going down in this book.
That's some hardcore daddy issues right there.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, more than I've seen from Donnie Cates. And it had me intrigued. And Michael says, I like this one so far. Yeah, no, it picked up. It did not have it. It had the beginnings of an issue 2 slump. And by the end of the book, I was like, oh shit, we've got some serious drama. And also serious action. There was some really cool action with the Rogue Son, doing his thing. Yeah, you got it. So I genuinely liked the book, and I think Nathan should pick it up. I know he doesn't want to add more books to his pool, but this one was fun. And I hope it continues. It just felt... I guess I was in the same boat. I didn't know what to expect from the book, and when that dropped in there, I was like, this is getting real. Like, there are some real issues going on in Rogue Sun. So, as of right now, I think I am still on a issue-to-issue basis. So it's Rogue Sun is walking a very fine, tight rope. But I'm here for issue 3. I've already pre-ordered issue 3. So we'll see where it goes, but I was pleasantly surprised, and I guess I'm waiting. I'm in anticipation for this supermassive multiverse to continue, or this massive verse to continue. And I'm hoping that what was kind of promised in that book of this just massive war that's going to involve these three concepts, I hope it flushes out, and I hope we do get to see, you know, another big a big issue dealing with all three characters, because I think what we're building here might actually be a lot of fun. So I want these characters to succeed, you know, because I want to pick up a super massive issue number 2 oversized. Like, I want that. Will this son go rough and attack the other family?
Go rogue.
Yeah, rogue. I you know, the daughter in this book kind of gives vibes that she's gonna help the son. But the boy, the younger son, I still get vibes like that the family can't be trusted, right? I don't know if the ghost father, is really telling the son the whole story. And I kind of get that vibe, like there's going to be more shoes to drop, right? But right now, the only reason why is because he loves that family more than the son. It's just really, really fucked up. So if it's collected, I just think you should read it, Nate. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting to be where I'm at right now at the end of this issue. It was really cool. We'll see.
Give it another one.
All right. Next up, we've got Step by Bloody Step, issue number 2. This is a visual book, even though there is some writing in it, but it is in a completely alien language, so you wouldn't know what they're saying. But fantastic. Visually, it is outstanding. I think the story that they're telling is really cool. Essentially, you have this girl who's growing up who cannot really associate with anyone within society because she's not allowed to, because she's got this dormant and or very active power, you know, those opposite sides of the coin. But it's only, you know, this power is only kind of activated when she's in danger. And so we've got this empire that's actively searching her out and killing people trying to find her. That's essentially what this issue is. So we kind of get more villainy in this book, but we see the girl kind of grow up more. We see the big giant knight mech following her and trying to keep her safe without her showing her powers, and it kind of happens in this issue. I'm going to continue to read it. I think it's only a 3-parter, I can't remember how many. I don't remember how many issues there are, but it's fun. I
think Mike said this was his pick of the week.
Say who?
Mike. I think he said this was his pick.
Oh, Mike. Did he? It's really good. I think, you know what, if Immortal, X-Men, and Radiant Black hadn't been on my pool, I probably would have picked this as my pick of the week. Like, it was right there. Just because visually it's just outstanding, and it's just unique, you know what I mean? And the coloring is really good. It's a fun story. I think this would be a really cool book to pick up if they ever have like an actual like treasury edition, you know? It'd be really nice to have on your bookshelf because it's super fun. It's more
like it's 4 issues.
4 issues.
Yeah, I still need to read the first one, so that was my.
Highly recommend it. I would definitely.
I have it. It's here. I just haven't read it.
I'll just fucking read it. Just look at it.
I'll read it when you read literally any of the things I tell you to read, like Something's Killing the Children, or the backup pick up of the book you've already bought.
Do Something's Killing the Children. Okay. That is it for this week. For issue 83, we appreciate everybody that has been watching tonight live and anybody that is watching this as a past episode. Again, as a reminder, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, give us a like, and we will see you guys this Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. And then I will be writing solo next Sunday because Nathan will be in Mexico at a wedding. And so, you know, just is what it is. So it will be just Jim next Sunday, but Nate will be here for our New Comic Book Day video, so you will get to see what he's pulling, but I won't be talking about him. Sunday live here, unless I'm reading him as well, but the books that he is picking up that I'm not reading, I'm not going to talk about it. But make sure to join us here 8 o'clock Central Standard Time here on YouTube on Sunday, and obviously we'll have a New Comic Book Day video out this Wednesday. We might have some breaking comic book news if we can get it in, because something's going on with Shang-Chi, and we need to talk about it. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll get to that. We'll get there when we get there. We might do it. We might not. We'll see. If not, no biggie. But yeah, as always, guys, read more comics, and we'll see you guys in the next one. We appreciate you all, and have a good night. Stay safe. Later.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.